Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this edition it's Milons Secret Castle, brought to us by Hudson Soft. Now, Milons Secret Castle's gameplay is kind of a blend of a few different elements. You have action platforming, you have puzzles, and you have a money system you're going to need to use in order to buy items. So here we go with Milons Secret Castle for the NES. Now, at the start of the game, you have your game start screen, and then you immediately start outside the castle. You enter the first door to our first room. The castle is made up of lots of different rooms that we're going to have to enter in order to find the different items, boss battles, and eventually complete the game. Now, to start off, I'm going to play the bonus game. You find different music boxes throughout the game, and then you engage in a music note collection game in order to build up your money count. Now, in the bonus game, you want to collect as many notes as possible. Any sharp symbols you collect gives you 2 notes. However, if you collect a flat symbol, it decreases by 1. Now, every 3 music notes that you do collect, you get 1 piece of money. However, if you get your note count above 50, you actually get 1 piece of money for every 2 music notes you collect. And of course, we're going to need as much money as possible to buy all the different items that we find throughout the game. Now, in this run of the game, I am probably not going to find all the music boxes, but I'll try to show all the locations. Every time you find a different music box, a different instrument in the background song of the bonus level's music kicks in. So, at the very start, the first bonus level, there's not a whole lot of music going on. It kind of sounds really dull. However, the more music boxes you find, the more musical instruments that kick in during that bonus scene. So kind of a little interesting Easter egg to find all the music boxes. Now, for each of the main rooms of the castle, you have a different layout and different setup for each of the rooms. They all contain different enemies, and they all have breakable blocks that you can find money or just blank spaces. Also located in these blocks can be honeycombs, which I found one earlier, which actually increases your total health by 1 bar, your health being the set of blue bars on the left side of the screen. The other main item that you'll find is the Hudson Soft B, which gives you a shield around you that protects you for a few hits. Now, that room I was just in was the first of the shops. In the shops, you usually can buy a hint to tell you about something that you'll need to do in the game. You can usually buy at least 1 item, and then for a lot of them, you'll have a health regeneration one, which will cost 5, or later on 15, which will increase your health back to full. The health that costs only 5 won't refill your health fully. Now, this is the second of the rooms, and I'm stopping by this shop real quick in order to buy these shoes. What the shoes do is on those blocks that you can see right now in the lower left corner, and you'll see it in just a few seconds. You can see it right there above me, as well as some other random blocks throughout the game. You can bounce on them. It becomes like a spring, and without those shoes you won't be able to bounce up on them. As you'll see, I'll start doing the bouncing here. And that's going to be essential because there's going to be a lot of levels that we're going to have to bounce on different platforms in order to reach different areas. That first shop, I also bought that potion. That potion, in case you were wondering, allows me to shrink when I get hit with the boxing glove. Not a whole lot of sense, I think. A lot of people probably question how that really makes a lot of sense, drinking a potion and then getting punched with a boxing glove. Somehow shrinks you, but that's just how the physics of Milons Secret Castle work. Now, our next room that I'm going to go into is our first boss battle. Now, all the bosses, there are 2 different types. You kind of have these jumping dragons, which kind of look a little bit like kangaroos or different animals, but they, I think, are supposed to be dragons. And then we'll have these really big, fuzzy enemies. They all have the same basic pattern. They throw different amounts of their item out, they do different amounts of damage, and they take different amounts of hits to kill, but they're essentially the same boss battle. You have to get used to kind of predicting where their shots are going to go in order to kind of dodge around. Usually it's better just to wait for them to shoot and come to you before jumping up and start to attack them. You're going to have to do damage directly to their face in order to actually hurt them. Now, thankfully, they do make a sound when you do hit them in their weak point, so that you know you actually did damage to them. By defeating each of the bosses, you do get a crystal, which actually increases the amount of damage or range that your bubble does. It upgrades your bubble attack just slightly each time you kill a boss. Now that the first boss is defeated, we're on the second floor. And this is when things start to get a little bit confusing in this game, because there's different levels that you can go into, including the well. Now, before we head into the well, we're going to need an item, which I'm going to buy in not this level, but actually in the next one that we travel to. In each of the levels, in order to beat the level, you need to find a key. In order for the key to appear in the level, you need to kill a certain amount of enemies or break a certain amount of blocks. It's kind of a mix of both. You can either break all blocks, kill all monsters, or just, mix it up a little bit, and you'll hear a sound go off when it symbolizes that you have broken enough blocks or killed enough enemies in order for the key to appear. Once you have the key, you have to find the door in the level, which is always in a different place. By shooting a random spot in the level, the door will appear, in which case you'll then be able to enter the door and exit back out of the stage. The good thing is, if you need to come back into a level because you missed an item or didn't have enough money to buy an item from one of the shops located in the levels, you can come back into the stages as many times as you want, and if you've already beaten the stage once and have the key, you'll always keep the key, so that you can immediately come in, grab the item you need, and then walk out without having to face a lot of enemies or destroy a bunch more of the blocks. Right next to that exit door I took in the previous stage, if you hit that one block, that would have been one of the other music boxes for the bonus game. In that previous stage, we could have gone into one of the shops that was located in that stage and purchased the lantern. The lantern item will allow you to see inside of the well. However, there's only one room where you won't be able to see, and it's really not that difficult to traverse through it, so that ends up being one of those items that we can skip. The item I just purchased in this room, however, I think is one of the more essential items to get through the well. It's the fireproof vest, which protects you from the fire that's throughout most of the well. Now, in this room, since I did get the most important item, the fireproof vest, I'm going to just go ahead and grab the honeycomb right there to increase my health a little bit extra. I've been showing off most of them. I think I will probably get all of them, or at least all the ones that I know of, throughout the course of this run. Now I have the key that I was finally able to get enough blocks destroyed for. Now to get back up, the easiest way, I'm just going to go back through the shop real fast just to get back to this platform and reset it so that I'm big again and I can easily make that jump upwards. There's the exit door, and now that I have the fireproof vest, we're going to venture into the well. Now this is the room that would help you with that lantern. You will be able to see the blocks that I'm standing on. However, you can break those two to the left, jump inside, and now we're actually in the main portion of the well, which as you can see, even though I don't have the lantern, it's lit up anyway. I just grabbed the Hudson bee to get a little bit of a shield, and another honeycomb to increase my health. Now in this second room, we're going to break the wall here and move upwards. Now this is where the fire would really hurt you without the fireproof vest. Now you can traverse it with full health if you want to take a lot of hits, but it's just easier to have bought that fireproof vest. Now when we go down here, we're going to not fight the fire guy. Instead, we're going to break that piece of fire on top of those blocks there, get another honeycomb, and drop down here to fight our next boss, which is one of those fuzzy enemies. This one is brown, so it kind of looks a little wrong. But his pattern, as you can see, is very similar to the kangaroo dragon, which we already did battle with. Now by defeating this one, we're actually going to get an increase in our bubble power. The bubbles will actually be bigger once we get this crystal. That first crystal, I said usually they always increase your bubble power, but that first crystal actually gave us the ability to continue the game if we got a game over. You only have one life in the game, and if you lose it, it's a game over, and you have to actually press left and start at the start screen in order to continue once you've lost your life. Now, I was able to get the hammer after defeating that boss along with the crystal. By having the hammer, I'll be able to enter the walls, secret hidden walls. Once we're back in the well, I defeated one of those eyeball floating enemies. When you defeat them, a balloon appears, and if you grab the balloon, you get floated into a bubble and float upwards, and that's how you're able to easily exit the well. You can technically go through the well backwards and climb up all the bricks at the very beginning of it to also get out if you want to, but I think it's much easier just to defeat that enemy. Once he was defeated, I ran back down to the first floor, jumped into a hidden wall to find another item shop, which gave me the saw. The saw will allow me to enter rooms that have the brown grate over them. Now on the second floor, we're going to do battle with our next boss. It's another one of those jumping dragon-style ones. This one's more resembling of a bird, but his pattern and projectiles are pretty much the same. Just dodge the projectiles as you can. You're usually going to take a couple hits depending upon how good you get at dodging. Just don't make sure you get hit by him. Don't let him land on you. He'll do a lot more damage when he lands on you than his projectiles would do. Now that we're on the 3rd floor, I'm in my next room, and as you can see, there is another one